Hello and welcome to the Nexus. Today's show, Imran Khan, a cricket legend, one-time socialite, will soon be sworn in as Pakistan's next Prime Minister. So today, we'll be asking his ex-wife how he transformed himself from playboy to PM, and she's not impressed. We'll also be asking if this former cricket captain can take on the generals, or if Pakistan's military will always be in charge. And how much of his victory is just simply down to being very good looking and charismatic? We'll find out on the streets of East London. All that and more here in the Nexus. Hello, I'm Matthew Moore, and today in the Nexus, it's Imran Khan. After spending the past 22 years in the Pakistani political snake pit, the cricketing legend has made it all the way to the very top and will soon be sworn in as the country's next Prime Minister. In a moment, we'll hear from his ex-wife, Reham Khan. There she is. She says he's made too many compromises along the way and is not the man she married. But first, for those of you too young to remember him in his heyday, here's a Nexus-style reminder of the man, the myth, the legend.
Pakistan win the World Cup, a magnificent performance in front of 87,000 people. Imran Khan has led his side to victory.
You are also known as the world's greatest heartthrob. What is it with you that produces this fantastic urge for girls to beat a path to your door?
Imran Khan and Jemima Goldsmith exchanged their vows at Richmond Register Office with the eyes of the world's media upon them.
The former playboy built the privately run cancer hospital as a tribute to his mother who died of the disease. The hospital looks set to gain further international fame through the princess's visit.
In a democracy, I mean, we all have the right to say what we think is right. If I have a platform, I should speak out.
Corruption can only be rooted out from Pakistan if accountability starts from the top. Political parties don't have democracy in them. They are family parties.
22 years back is when Imran Khan started his journey. He's come a long way in being able now to form a government on his own steam.
Oh, let's pause it there. That's quite enough hero worshipping of Imran Khan. Let's get the other side of this now. We have Reham Khan, his former wife, who knows him very well, has a unique perspective, of course. Reham, what on earth was it about him that attracted, and still does, so many people to him?
The reason is because he's, as you said in the bits about him also, he's very charismatic. He's also the only celebrity, the only hero we've had. And I've just written a book because people kept asking me so many questions about what he's really like and why did we sort of split up. And people thought there might have been something quite personal, you know, like, you know, left the toilet seat up, you didn't take me out to dinner. It was nothing of the sort. It was actually more of the fact that at this stage, when you marry someone and when you think that this is a hero and this is a legend, and you believe that he will lead us to this change and he will, you know, he will give us a corruption-free world. I believed in him, as many in my generation do believe in him. So we weren't those who were like maybe hero worshipping him for his looks. We are a later generation, but we did believe in him being honest. We did believe in him being different, and that was the thing that, you know, very slowly into the relationship, I was in a state of denial, and that's what I've written in the book as well, that, you know, the only thing that you must have in life is hope. Imran has been the hope of a country that hasn't much to be proud of. You know, there's nothing. So Imran was, as I say in the book as well, and I said this to him when I first met him, and he was a bit offended. I said, "You're the best export we have." And he was like, "I'm not sure I like that description."
But why don't you believe in him anymore? Why is he not a hopeful figure for you and for the country?
He says the right words. He touches your heartstrings when he talks about there should be democracy within the party. When you have a platform, you must speak out. And so those are the things that he sold me while he was courting me, that, you know, that you're a social activist, you want to save children, you want to stand up for women's rights. So who better but for a journalist and a wife, obviously sincerely guiding you that, you know, by the way, this is happening. But I found out as I lived with him that he didn't want to hear any of it. He was a very typical politician. He was like, I don't want to hear it. You know, I want the glory. I worked for 22 years. I think I deserve the prize. And his focus was on lifting the trophy.
So you're saying basically he's putting his own destiny ahead of the country's, in your opinion?
Yes, and it was heartbreaking because not only that as a voter I believed in him, but now that I see, you know, the foreign articles about him and maligning him, because this win isn't really a win. Would Imran, the cricketer, I mean, and he was a very, very good cricketer, the best all-rounder in the world, would he have been satisfied back then if he had been accused of cheating in a game, if he had been accused of just handing the trophy to him? So I feel...
We're going to get to that in a moment, Reham. I need to ask you something, because I know that you would have watched your interviews with other networks and seen all the disgusting and mean comments that follow. A lot of them are quoting Imran Khan when he says that you were the worst mistake of his life, and they are incredibly against you. They say you're a gold digger and you're simply trying to make your reputation off the back of his. Why is that unfair?
Well, I mean, because it's not true. So when I walked out on him, the propaganda machinery that they used was that, you know, he divorced and he had a problem because she was a gold digger. And of course, this is a huge lobby. I'm strong when people criticize me and when people throw abuse, because that's all they can do. Because I have 2 daughters and a lot of women, young women as well as older women, look up to me. I understand how the propaganda machinery works. So it's very important for me not to be bothered about it and not to be composed within
Let
that
us
sort
turn
of,
to politics. Reham, I know you're following things, the political scene as well. I'm going to watch Legend Part 2 now. Here's where we find out how he transformed himself from a playboy cricketer to a serious political figure. 25 years ago, in 1992, Imran Khan led the Pakistan cricket team to its first and only World Cup victory. Just 4 years later, he turned those leadership skills to politics, setting up his own centrist party, the Pakistan Movement for Justice. And between then and now, here is the extraordinary timeline. In 2002, Khan won his party's first seat in the National Assembly. By 2008, he was so frustrated with the system and corruption that he boycotted the election, which meant giving up his seat.
This election should be boycotted because it is a complete fraud.
In 2011, the now outsider Khan gathered large crowds in Karachi and Lahore to protest against the established parties. In the same year, his reputation was bolstered by a major YouGov poll, which showed that a clear majority of Pakistanis believed he was the best man to lead the country. Fast forward to 2013, and Khan was back, winning a seat again in the National Assembly, though critics say he barely turned up, while his party won the majority in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, one of the country's 4 provinces. And he continued his anti-corruption activism. The following year, he led huge anti-government rallies, saying the 2013 elections were rigged and putting pressure on the Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, to resign. It didn't work, but he gained a huge boost when the Panama Papers exposed Sharif's undeclared assets through offshore companies and property in the UK. Fast forward to present-day Pakistan, and Sharif has receded into the background, now a convict, while Imran Khan and his party has won the election, promising a Naya or new Pakistan. And the former cricket champ now begins his most challenging match yet. Reham, do you think he's driven by a genuine desire to help and improve Pakistan, or is it something more personal, egotistical?
The problem is that we have 2 messages now today. One, that the only way is to compromise. You know, he talked about anti-status quo, he talked about anti-corruption, but today, right, left, centre, I mean, he has all those people who are very corrupt, who are very much status quo. Then he talked about, using the platform. And in this video, you describe him as a centrist party. But look at the people and look at the extremist agenda that he's promoting. And this is on their posters. This is on,
What aspect of his manifesto is extremist?
Well, for example, just before the elections, he used the blasphemy card, and it's regretful because Salman Taseer was a very close friend of his, the gentleman who was executed.
You mean he supports the blasphemy law?
Well, I think he uses it.
Just give us a moment. We want to explain the blasphemy law. We actually have a little graphic here which tells you all about it. It actually guards against derogatory remarks against any Islamic personage. You can get 3 years in jail for that. It also covers the willful desecration of the Quran, which could give you life imprisonment, and blasphemy against Islam's Prophet Muhammad, you could actually wound up being executed or life in prison. Now, Reham, in all honesty, a lot of Pakistanis support having a blasphemy law, but it is the abuse of that law that's the problem. Can you just tell us very briefly about that?
Absolutely. So I have no problem, of course. I'm a practicing Muslim, and for Muslims across the world, blasphemy is not acceptable. However, using religion to pick up votes when you are very liberal in your personal life is not acceptable. And I say that why? Because I'm a human rights activist. So in Pakistan particularly, and maybe in other countries also, minorities tend to be the poorest in communities. And most of them, these blasphemy law are used against women. When Imran came in, he promised to protect vulnerable and minorities.
Are you saying that Imran Khan's transformation from playboy back in the 80s and 90s to someone who now casts a much more religious figure, are you saying that's not genuine?
I'm saying that it is completely orchestrated for political gain. And you'll see him go from one constituency to another. He is bowing down wherever he thinks he can secure the vote. That is the problem I have. I have no problem with people who are perhaps right-wing or even liberal left. But when your moral compass is completely sort of, not stable, that is the disturbing fact.
Do you wish him well as Pakistan's new Prime Minister?
I wish and pray Pakistan well. I must stress to people listening, it's not about Imran. Right now, the military establishment is using Imran because he's done all the right things. In a couple of months' time, 3 months' time, they could replace him with another better puppet.
Well, we will be getting into that. We will be getting into that very soon.
This is not a win for Imran. I hope that it isn't doom and gloom for Pakistan. For me, Pakistan comes first. It's not about Imran or someone else. What I think is Imran has not only compromised his hero status, but he's compromised democracy to get here. And that is going to be our biggest loss. Is this just a route for the boots to come in another form? That's my concern.
We will be finding out a little later. Reham Khan, thank you very much for joining us here in the Nexus and giving us your unique personal perspective. Well, let's go to Pakistan now, and two politicians, one with him, the other against him. Uzma Kardar is a member of Khan's party, and Malika Raza, well, she used to be a member of his party. She's now with one of his rivals, the Pakistan People's Party, Bhutto's party, essentially. Let me come to you first of all, Uzma. We've been hearing from Reham Khan about how Imran Khan has made so many compromises along the way, just not the man she married. How do you respond to that?
I can only sympathize with her because, the pain of missed opportunities. She could have been the first lady of Pakistan. And, of course, she lost it because of her, I don't know, bitterness.
To be fair, it's not all about personal animus towards her ex-husband. She does make some points that other people are making too. For example, and people have said, look, he is pandering to the religious side, the hardcore religious side of the establishment in order to get votes. How do you answer that?
I would like to remind them that all these religious parties, they went under the banner of MMA, and they have all been defeated, practically crushed by PTI in KP, because it's a clean sweep for us there.
By Imran Khan's
I don't
party.
know what religious element they're talking about.
Let's give Malika a chance to respond. Malika, do you find that it's true that Imran Khan is pandering to the religious hardliners in order to get votes?
He always had this tilt towards religious extremism in Pakistan. His CM offered Taliban to open their offices in KP, where they have the government. And now he's meeting all the, those groups who are involved in exciting hatred towards religious minorities. And he's assuring them to address their concerns. Like what concerns? So I don't see that how minorities, and especially religious minorities, are going to fit in his version of New Pakistan.
Uzma, is that a real concern?
From what I know, because I was in Banigala the other day, Imran Khan is meeting a lot of dignitaries, and he's meeting a lot of independent MNAs and MPAs who have expressed their desire to join PTI, because inshallah, like we say in Pakistan, PTI is going to form the government in the federal government and the government in Punjab.
Okay.
So that is why, of course he has to meet a lot of people. I don't know what she's talking about. She should give a few names.
Malika, a lot of the political parties were saying that the election was rigged, including your own. Are you now standing down from that? Are you willing to work with Imran Khan, the new Prime Minister?
Benazir Bhutto, the ex-prime minister who was slain by terrorism, she used to say that democracy is the best revenge. So yes, we will definitely go in the parliament, but we have completely rejected the results. But we will go and we will fight. We will take this fight into parliament, because we don't want to give space to any undemocratic or unseen forces.
Okay, let's talk about some of these background forces. You know, many analysts say it doesn't matter who runs Pakistan's government because the real power is held by the military. Some of Khan's critics even say it's only with their blessing that he's now the Prime Minister. It may seem incredible, but is it? The military is the most powerful institution in Pakistan, and it's been that way since the nation's tumultuous birth in 1947. They've played kingmaker in each of the country's 13 general elections, including the most recent one.
मैं आज अल्लाह का शुक्र अदा करता हूँ कि 22 साल की स्ट्रगल जो आज से 1996 में मैंने शुरू की और आज अल्लाह ने उस मुकाम पे मुझे पहुंचाया है.
Military men influence all foreign, domestic and economic policy, and in the country's 70-year history, military rule has been imposed 3 times. So what has led to this military dominance? Well, the British made their hurried exit from the Indian subcontinent in the middle of the last century. The country was thrown into immediate conflict with India. Defence became the country's #1 priority, and as such swallowed most of the federal budget, establishing the military as near autonomous. Since then, the Pakistani military has spent almost half the country's existence in charge, and it's a huge employer with around 650,000 active personnel, and they make their presence felt. Just over half of them were sent to polling booths across the country on election day, ostensibly to keep the peace, but critics say they helped rig the vote in Khan's favour. If they did support him, it was a gamble. He has generally opposed the war on terror in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and is seen as soft on some armed groups, putting him at odds with the military, which, as his predecessor knows, can seriously shorten your political career. He has also objected to Pakistan's military accepting billions from Washington, and frankly, it looks like the feeling's mutual.
We have been paying Pakistan billions and billions of dollars. At the same time, they are housing the very terrorists that we are fighting. But that will have to change, and that will change immediately.
But so far, Imran Khan is keeping the military sweet, endorsing the China-Pakistan economic corridor, which the generals approve of, and, from time to time, switching on the old Khan charm.
पाकिस्तान कौम की तरफ से कहता हूं कि हमारा मुल्क इकट्ठा है, हम अपनी फौज के साथ खड़े हैं, हमारी फौज ने हमें जंग जितवाई है दहशतगर्दी से, कराची के लोगों को अगर फौज ना होती क़यामत कैसे होता?
Uzma, you're part of Imran Khan's party. Is it true that the military essentially handed him the election, anointed him?
Matthew, if that was the case, I would like to ask Malika, what are they crying about? They've got 70% seats in Sindh. They are making the government there. If the military was supposed to bring Imran Khan in, then Sindh should have been ours too. Yes, you're right. We have had a very checkered history. Initially, you know, we had martial law, we had military dictatorship. But, Matthew, look at the last 10 years. We've had 2 democratic governments who completed their tenure. And General Bajwa, the current army chief, he has at least said a zillion times that I stand behind democracy, and we are there to strengthen democracy.
You mentioned, just for our viewers at home, you mentioned the head of the army. Let's bring in a quick graphic here to explain who he is. There we go. General Javed Kamar Bajwa, and we also have the head of the ISI, Lieutenant General Naveed Mukhtar. Actually, if I could come back to you quickly, Malika, who do you think is the most powerful man in Pakistan right now?
Imran Khan as Prime Minister may have the office, but the real power definitely lies with the other 2. In these elections, like 4 million army personnel, they were posted to all the polling stations, and their basic duty was only to secure and secure the people or security. But they were, and media, you can see so many videos that they were involved in. They were counting the votes, like ballot papers. They are found burning in Karachi.
So what's your point?
There's so many irregularities in these elections done by the army, people like soldiers who were posted there. So, I mean, how could anyone deny that they were involved in...
Let's ask Uzma. Malika is making the point that the army had such a massive presence that it could only have changed the outcome of the election somehow. You don't accept that?
My question again, how come they're making the government in Sindh? Where was the army? Was there no army deployed in Sindh? How come they got 70% of the seats? They should give them back. If they think that the army is the one delivering there all the seats, especially to Imran Khan. So I think the army was just deployed for security purposes. Nothing more, nothing less.
As is the view from Pakistan. But don't forget, Imran Khan spent many years playing cricket in Britain, and his first marriage was to a British woman. And he really left his mark on the country, which still endures, which is what we discovered when we sent our reporter to East London, where there's a big Pakistani community.
Imran Khan. What do you think of Imran Khan?
I think he's a big help for Pakistan.
He's a good person.
I think he's quite a decent guy. I think he's very honest.
I think he's going to do a really good job as Prime Minister.
He has a vision that's for the development of Pakistan, and I think for him, his politics clearly prioritises that vision about the development of Pakistan and its people, rather than how Pakistan should position itself across the world.
Do you think it helps that he's good looking?
Yeah, of course, people like that. But really what's causing people to have a lot of hope in him is the integrity that he has, the right stance he's making as a politician, and obviously his record.
All they have for him is personal attacks. They don't have anything to attack him on policy, they don't have anything to attack him on what he's done, his record in government.
Are you Imran Khan's supporter?
No.
Why not?
No, I like Nawaz Sharif.
You like Nawaz Sharif?
Yes.
So you don't like this guy?
No. I like only Nawaz Sharif.
What, you've got Nawaz Sharif watch?
Yes.
If he was here, would you give him a free ice cream?
Yeah, I will. I will give him good ice cream.
Malika, I never asked you what attracted you to Imran Khan's party in the first place and why you left. Could you just tell us about that very briefly?
Yeah, good question. Good question.
I joined the party because, I joined the party because no one can deny the fact, and we must give this credit to Imran Khan, that he engaged the youth of Pakistan. And my main reason to leave the party, he always says that overseas Pakistanis and youth and women, they are backbone of the party. But I don't see, any women, except those who have learned to say yes to him for everything, that they are part of any decision-making platform within the party or youth.
Uzma, the charge here is that Imran Khan is two-faced and the women who work for him are yes women.
Matthew, do I look like a yes woman to you?
Absolutely not. I think you look, if anything, you look like a no woman.
And I speak out my mind. Exactly. So if Imran Khan can deal with women like me, So I think for Malika, the grapes were sour. They became too sour, so she had to leave.
Let me ask you about the other side of things. She also mentioned that he was two-faced. What do you make of that? One face for the West and expats and diaspora, and another face back at home.
Okay, Imran Khan is one person whom people say he's no good because he's not a politician. He cannot lie. He cannot, what he is from inside, he is from outside, and that is why most parties think that he's a failed politician. Thank God he is not a politician because he does not lie. His only weakness is that he, number one, is not greedy, and number two, he calls a spade a spade. And you will see that. You will see that. He will never lie to his nation. He will never cheat them. And the next 5 years are going to prove that, Matthew, inshallah.
I thought his only weakness was women, but you know best. Okay.
No, not at all, not at all.
All right,
His
all right.
weakness is Pakistan.
Oh,
His
sure,
weakness
sure.
is Pakistan.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, Uzma Kardar, thank you so much for your contribution to the Nexus today, and also Malika Raza, thank you also. Well, if you enjoyed the show, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel there. We keep all our previous shows and this one there. Do join us next week for Trump's trade wars. See you then. Thanks for watching.